You're watching Auto Johnny.
Sup internet, I'm Auto Johnny and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. It's the series where I talk about upcoming movies, TV series, the history of production, how they're made, along with movie news and comics. Then I break them down to make them easy to follow and give you my personal thoughts. This Let's Talk About has been a long time coming, because today we're going to be talking about Superman. Now, I had my eye on this film for a very long time. In fact, this is probably one of my most anticipated movies of 2025. There's a lot going for this film and a lot riding on it too. Because not only is this the first solo Superman movie that we had in over 10 years, but it's also the beginning of the DCU and the first film of Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. But I feel this film can meet up to those expectations. But before we hop into the video, I want to clear things up. Since I took my impromptu break, much more information has come up to talk about this film, so much that I can't contain it in one video. So this will be part one of a two-part video about this film. So with that said, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Let's Talk About Superman, part one. The origins of this movie started in 2022 with the merger of Discovery and Warner Brothers to become Warner Brothers Discovery, with David Zaslav taking over. And while Zaslav is not popular with many people, myself included, he was right about how the DCEU had a lack of cohesion and, more importantly, let their other superheroes like Superman be left to languish and become irrelevant. So when former DC Films president Walter Hamada left, it was announced that James Gunn and Peter Safran became DC Studios co-CEOs, and the two would start working on what would eventually become the new DCU, a soft reboot of DC's cinematic universe.
Meanwhile,
Black Adam came out and teased, then later confirmed the return of Henry Cavill as the Man of Steel. There was even the possibility of Man of Steel 2 being back on the plate, but on December 17th of 2022, it was announced that Henry Cavill will not be returning as the Man of Steel. Though Gunn and Safran reassured us that they were discussing something else in the possible future, and probably something different for Cavill. But James Gunn did reassure that Superman will not only be a huge priority, but he is writing the script, which he's been working on since August of 2022. Also stated that this film will be focusing on a younger Superman, but is not going to be an origin story. Then on January 31st, 2023, James Gunn announced the first slate of the DCU projects called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, officially announced a Superman legacy, which was being written and directed by him. And as for inspirations, James Gunn has stated he drew inspiration from the following: All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, Superman Birthright by Mark Waid, Superman Brainiac by Jeff Johns, Superman Ending Battles, Superman for All Seasons, and Kingdom Come. Then on April 18th, 2023, James Gunn announced on social media that Superman's legacy script was complete. Then pretty soon we will get rumblings of the cast. Now initially for Superman we had Nicholas Hoult, who's also contended for Lex Luthor, Andrew Richardson, and Tom Brittney. And as for Lois Lane, we got Emma Mackley, Samara Weaving, and Phoebe Driver. But eventually we would get the official cast. First, we got Superman, played by David Corenswet, who was also a frontrunner and my personal pick for the character, so yeah. Then we got Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan. We got Green Lantern Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion. Mr. Terrific, played by Eddie Gatsby. Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Marced. Metamorpho, played by Anthony Carrigan. Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult. The Engineer, played by Maria Gabrielle De Farna. Eve Tessmacher, played by Sarah Sampirio. Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisanda. Perry White, played by Wendell Pierce. Jonathan Kent, aka Pa Kent, played by Pruitt Taylor Vince. Then there's Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Easy there, Batman. Easy. Anyways, Martha Kent, aka Ma Kent, played by Neva Howell. Cat Grant, played by Michaela Hoover. Man, these are a lot of names. Okay. Ron Thorpe, played by Christopher McDonald. Then we got Frank Grillo reprising his role as Rick Flag Sr. from the animated DCU series Creature Commandos. Steve Lombard, played by Beck Bennett. Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn. Supergirl, aka Superman's cousin, played by Billy Alcock. Otis, Lexus Hedgeman, played by Terrence Rossmore. And a cameo from Will Reeves, the son of Christopher Reeves. That's not also including Crypto the Superdog, along with Alan Tudyk, Michael Rooker, and Grace Chan voicing the Kryptonian robots 4, 5, and 12. Sergio Duki, Fahim Fazi, Chaim Jarafi, Xavier Maxon, and Jerry B. Harry, all playing a mix of a Daily Planet reporter, Jarpurian villagers, and a Jarpurian leader. And for those who don't know what Jarpur is, well, in the comics, it's an ancient secluded land in DC Comics. But I believe in the movie, it is a fictional nation. Then there's also the characters we know very little about, like the Hammer of Bavaria. Bavaria is also another fictional nation in this movie, and the now confirmed Ultraman. And I've seen some theories about these two, which I will share in the next part. Now, this film was supposed to start filming in January of 2024, but it was delayed due to the SAG-AFTRA strikes. But once the strikes ended, production for Superman Legacy would officially begin. And during this time, we actually got our first look at Superman's crest, thanks to Isabella Merced taking a photo of her name tag for the script reading, in which, if you're a big comic book fan, you will recognize that Superman's crest is the one that he uses in Kingdom Come. Then, principal photography will begin on February 9th, 2024 in Scala Brad, which is coincidentally Superman's birthday. And we would also get the information that the title of the film will be changed from Superman Legacy to just Superman. Filming would begin on April 1st of 2024, and while they were filming on May 6, 2024, we got our first look at David Corenswet as Superman. Now, when this first image came out, it was pretty controversial. Me personally, when I first saw this suit, I had my reservations. The suit was kind of baggy, it was kind of hard to see due to the lighting, but I do like the return of the red trunks. Also, I like the pose. It's basically saying he puts on his boot 1 foot at a time, just like the rest of us. Also, what is that in the background? I mean, it looks cool, but it's just standing there menacingly. Getting back on track, they would start filming in downtown Cleveland, where it would be the stand-in for Metropolis. This would include the Public Square, Progressive Fields, the Detroit Superior Bridge, and Mentor Highland Beach State Park, with the Leader building also being the stand-in for the Daily Planet. And can I just take a moment to talk a little bit more about these set photos? Like Superman, for instance. Now, when I saw this suit in action, it pretty much washed away all my reservation. So while the suit is a little baggy, it's overall pretty good. I also like seeing him as Clark Kent. Like, if you put these two side by side, you would have a hard time believing that they are the same person. And then there's all the characters, which look great so far, like the Engineer, Lois, Lex, Guy, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific especially, and all the Daily Planet crew and the rest. Then filming would move to Cincinnati, where they would start filming at Cincinnati Union Station. And if this building looks familiar, that's because it is the inspiration for the Hall of Justice, which means we'll probably be seeing it in this movie. And eventually filming would wrap up in July of 2024. As for the VFX, they will be done by Weta, Framestore, and ILM. Now, according to James Gunn, he chose to have the VFX done a year in advance, so he can not only give the VFX team extra time, but also they will produce better work. Because according to James Gunn, if you do some research, you'll see my films have always taken a different approach, and I've given my VFX artist collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve. and the quality of the VFX in those films is uniformly because of it, and because my friends at Weta and Frame Store and ILM and more are amazingly talented. We would often get some news here and there, like on October 19th of 2024, to celebrate Adopt a Shelter Dog Day. We got our first look at Crypto, who James Gunn based on his own dog Ozu, as he described Crypto in this movie as a not so good boy. Then on December 16th of 2024, we got a motion poster not only paying homage to Christopher Reeves, but also in the background playing a softer version of the Superman theme. Then on December 19th, we got our first teaser trailer. Now, when I first saw this teaser trailer, and I still watch it to this day, I think it's a really good trailer. I like this bold start with Superman being defeated, as one of the major criticisms to Superman is that Superman is too powerful, he never is beaten, and that's why he's boring. Well, also it shows the gravity of the situation, because who could be strong enough to even hurt Superman? Rachel Brosnahan looks great as Lois, and Nicholas Hoult looks like a powerful Lex Luthor. Plus, this trailer has a sense of hope and wonder, making it a great way to capture the tone of this Superman movie. The music will be done by John Murphy, who composed not only the Suicide Squad, but the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Volume 3. The film would also include a rescore of John Williams' Superman theme, which is such a perfect theme for the character and fits well in this movie that I can think of no better way to end out Part 1. And that is the end of part 1 of this Superman video. So make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notifications for part 2, where I will talk more about this film, both the good and the bad, and my theories for the film. So until next time, I'm Johnny, and I'll see you in part 2